two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Robert Frost. Hey gals, welcome to Sober Living Snippets, where we live alcohol-free so we can heal our relationships, feel youthful again, and ditch regret and shame. Gals, the English teacher strikes again. Last week, we did vocabulary. I just wanted to say it one more time. I've just had so much fun with that word. And today, we're doing poetry. Poetry. Don't panic. Don't panic. I promise to make it interesting. Did you know that poets are philosophers? Poets are philosophers. You know why I ended up doing my degrees in English? Because, I mean, honestly, people would say to me, English, what are you going to do for work? What do English teachers do? You got kind of one choice, teach. Anyway, I wanted to study English because in English Lit, I knew, first of all, because I love to read, but I knew that I would be reading philosophers and wise people, right? Wise people who had thought a lot about life. And so I knew that by studying English literature, I would be learning philosophy, psychology, religion, sociology, and that's exactly what I learned because it's all in the poetry. And so this week, you and I'm going to bring you just small little quotes, one-liners, one or two lines from some of my favorite poets, and we're going to talk about the message they wanted to give us and how it applies to our lives, our alcohol-free lives. Ready? The first poet we're celebrating today is Robert Frost, an American poet who lived from the late 1800s and died in 1963. He was born on the West Coast, died on the East Coast. He went from California to Boston. This quote is from his poem, The Road Not Taken. And the quote is, which you may have heard of, it's a pretty famous poem. The quote is, two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Why do we care, gals? Oh, I'll tell you why. We care because we are deciding to take the road less traveled. I love that. That's the part of that line that I love. The road less traveled. Are we going with the flow? In other words, doing what everybody else is doing? Are we following the crowd? Are we sheep? Are we cows? Are we cattle? No, we're not. We are taking the road less traveled. And that road less traveled is an amazing, exciting life crafted by choice and decision, not by compulsion, not by the inability to choose our actions. Now, granted, up until now, there's been some compulsion going on, and I can tell you right now that I thought, here's the thing. Okay, here's the funny thing about alcohol, or at least for me. I thought by being the rebel, especially back in the day, in the 20s, the teens, I thought I was taking the road less traveled. I was rebelling. I was cool because I partied a lot and, lived a lifestyle outside the norm. But I was just a sheep following along with all the people in my circle, the kind of people that I came into contact with. And then after I got out of that life and into college, I was just a sheep again, just following along. Oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But the most significant thing that made me a sheep was the fact that the alcohol led me around by the nose. So I was not taking a road less traveled. I was just trapped in a very, very old and boring loop. So we've been trapped in a loop and taking the road more traveled until now. And now we've decided to take the road less traveled. And I'll tell you why it's the road less traveled. Because if you're living here in Snippet Land, you know that we don't go light and fluffy here. So there are sobriety journeys that are a lot fluffier than mine. We don't do the light stuff here. We have decided to take the road less traveled because we are going to change our lives right down to the core. We do radical things here. We are taking radical responsibility and we are doing radical acceptance. Those two things are definitely the road less traveled. How many people do you know that take radical responsibility for their lives? And what does that mean? We've talked about it before. It means we don't allow anything in our lives to decide how we're going to feel or how we're going to behave. We don't drink over the past. We don't get upset over the past. We deal with it. And we never, ever give away ownership of our lives. We take responsibility and say, no matter what has happened to me in my life, I get to decide how I respond and how I live. No matter what's been done to us, and I put done in quotation marks, because otherwise we're victims. So that is radical responsibility, and that is the road less traveled. We also do radical acceptance. That means that we simply accept in life the things that we have no power over. If I cannot control something, I don't worry about it. I just let it go. Even if I think it's wrong and I disagree with it, if I can't control it, there's no point in me getting upset about it. I can't change the weather. I can't change the economy. I can't change the politicians. These are things I cannot change. We step up and we change things that we have control over, but we take radical acceptance by simply not worrying about things that we cannot control, that are completely beyond our control. And my dears, that is the road less traveled. Another thing we do here, because I'm not giving you fluff, remember? Another thing we do here, we take the stance that life is happening for us, not to us. Life is happening for us, not to us. And this is similar to number one, but it is different. Again, radical, right? The road less traveled. Part of deciding to take ownership of your life means that everything that comes into your life from that moment onwards, you look at it and ask yourself, how is this here for me? For me. Not to me. How is this here for me? How can I use this event to grow? How is this event happening so I can become a better, different person, a stronger person? Everything, no matter how difficult it is, we never say, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me. That is a victim stance, and that is not the road less traveled. That's how society teaches us. It's how our parents taught us. That's not what we do here. We take the road less traveled, and no matter what happens, we stop and I say, how is this happening for me? How can I use this to grow? And if we ask that question, what happens is the event becomes something that helps us. Things are happening for us simply by us deciding they're happening for us. Things are victimizing us when we decide they're victimizing us. It's all a mindset shift. The whole thing, all of this, everything we do here is an alcohol-free mindset. It's a mindset shift. We decide life is happening for me, not to me. I take ownership of everything that's happened now and ever happened to me in the past. I accept everything that I cannot control. I just accept it. And then I live free. And so do you. And that, my dear, is the road less traveled. Frost and other poets, I don't know of a poet who lives on the beaten track, because I got to be honest with you. I don't want to live on the beaten track, because when I look at the society we live in, it is what it is. It's out of my control, that's for sure. But I just don't want to be a person who lives their life like this. Wake up, go to work, complain, come home, eat, watch TV, or look at some other screen, go to bed, wake up, and do it all over again. Year out, year in, year out, decade in, decade out, until I die. We're here to do something with our lives. We don't live on autopilot. That's another thing we don't do, and that is the road less traveled. And we're willing to take uncomfortable action. That is a huge road less traveled. You're going to be very lonely on that road, let me tell you. Unless, of course, you're here in Snippet Land. This is a road less traveled, but we're on it. And there's a lot of us, but compared to the billions of people on the planet Earth, it's the road less traveled. That's for sure. So, Mr. Robert Frost, I want to thank you for inspiring us today and reminding us that the road less traveled is the nobler path. Let me give it to you one more time, because the last part of this quote is very important. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. That's the reason we do it. It's going to make all the difference in our lives. At the end of your life, you're going to go, I'm so glad I took all that uncomfortable action. It was so worth it. And at the end of the day, it wasn't all that uncomfortable anyway. You're going to be so glad you took the road less traveled, because you took your life and you did with it something extraordinary instead of living on autopilot and allowing circumstances and other people to push you along to places that you don't really, in your heart and soul, want to go. Well, we just launched another week of snippets. And before we go, I want to remind you that you don't have to live in fear of your next trigger, and you're never alone. If you want extra support, join my free Sober Living Letters, and I'll send you 2 life-changing tools: a free copy of my international best-selling memoir and a free breathing guide to help you regain control in those high-stress moments so cravings don't win. This isn't just another email list. This is the Sober Living Letters, a lifeline, a reminder that you are stronger than your cravings and you don't have to figure this out alone. So go to the show notes, sign up now, and I will immediately send you back those 2 free gifts. The letters come through on Mondays, and if you don't see your letter on Mondays, check your spam folder, because I send nothing but goodies in your direction. See you tomorrow. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.